All right, guys, so hopefully next year I will have an iPad and we'll be able to write on a tablet, on a PDF. But for now, here we are. Okay, so I'm going to break each of these videos down into sections based on, like, this one is quadrilaterals. So the first thing it tells us is bark is a parallelogram and that the measure of angle A, so right here, is 99 degrees. It wants me to solve for the measure of R, angle K, and angle B. Well, if you remember the properties about parallelograms, the opposite angles are congruent. So we instantly know that angle K is going to be 99. And then moving along, R, hopefully you remember that these angles, consecutive angles, are supplementary. Supplementary meaning that they should add to 180. This angle and this angle. So I'm going to do 180 and I'm going to subtract 99 and I will get 81 degrees. So 81 degrees for angle R. And then I should remember still that opposite angles are congruent, so 81 degrees here as well. Okay. Next up, bark is a parallelogram. So if AB, which is this segment right here, is x plus 24, and AR, which is right here, is 4x plus 15, RK, this segment, is 3y minus 11, and KB is y plus 40. Okay, we do know that these opposite sides are congruent to each other. However, when we go ahead and we set them equal, let's say we set these equal, we have y plus 40 equals 4x plus 15. Notice I have a y and an x. I can't solve both for the same thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use substitution. All right, so I'm going to subtract 40, and I'm going to subtract 40. I'm going to get y equals 4x minus 25. Okay, so that's going to be what y equals. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set these opposite ones equal. So I'm going to do x plus 24 equals 3. It's 3y minus 11. But instead of the y, I'm going to go ahead and put 4x minus 25. All right, because I know that y equals this. The same way if I knew y equaled 2, I would put a 2 in here. But I know y is equal to 4x minus 25. Then I'm going to finish the equation, minus 11. Okay, now I'm going to just start using my math algebra skills and solving. So I'm going to have x plus 24 equals 12x minus 75 minus 11. I'm going to combine some like terms here, and I'm going to have x plus 24 equals 12x minus 86. Negative 75 and negative 11. Negative 86. All right, so I want to move things around. I'm going to subtract 12x from both sides. And I'm going to subtract 24 from both sides. And I'm going to end up with negative 11x equals negative 110. I'll divide by negative 11 and divide by negative 11 and get x equals 10. Alright, so that's what x equals. And now, to solve for y, I'm just going to plug it in to this formula. So I'm going to get y equals 4 times 10, right, what we got for x, using this equation, minus 25. 4 times 10 is 40, minus 25, and I'll get y equals 15. Not too bad, right? Okay, moving along, we have bark is a parallelogram. If if the measure of angle RKG is 49, so from R down to K over to G, this is 49, and the measure of angle AGR, this angle right here, is 82, solve for the measure of RGK, so RGK, this right here, and ABG. So from A down to B over to G, this angle right here. Well, I'm going to solve for angle RGK first. All right, and I'm going to do 180, this straight line, and subtract 82. That's going to give me 98 degrees. There was this boy band back in the day called 98 Degrees. 98 degrees, RGK. All right, so then I'm going to look and I'm going to say, oh, look at that. This right here is a triangle, and I know that a triangle equals 180 degrees, so I'm going to do, for angle AEG, I'm going to take 180, subtract 98, and subtract 49, and I'm going to get 33 degrees. Okey-doke. Moving right along. Move this up a bit. Not sure why it's blurry. Let me see if I can get it to focus a bit better. Okay. Well, arc is a parallelogram. If AG equals 4x plus 7, so 4x plus 7, and KG equals 2x plus 33. Find x. Well, parallelogram, the diagonals, they bisect each other. So you technically know that this segment and this segment are congruent, right? So things that you would want to know on your flashcard, right, that you get to use. So I'm going to set them equal to each other. 4x plus 7 equals 2x plus 33. Right? I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. I'm going to end up with 2x equals 26. And then I'll divide by 2 and divide by 2 and get x equals 13. Not too bad, right? But it would be really hard if you didn't know the properties of a parallelogram. Okay, so determine whether the quadrilateral is a parallelogram using the distance formula. So what I want to do is I just want to prove that one pair of opposite sides is congruent. So I'm gonna go ahead and put D, E, F, G, just to give me like a visual. So I'm gonna find DE first, and remember the distance formula. So it's gonna be the square root, and I'm gonna do DE, so I'm gonna do 6 that I'm getting from right here, minus 1, and I'll square it, and, sorry, I just lost my place here, negative 3 minus negative 8, and I'll square that. Okay, well remember that 2 negatives make a positive, so don't forget that. 6 minus 1 is 5, we're going to square that, plus negative 3 plus 8 is going to be 5, and we're going to square that. So we will end up with 25 plus 25, all right, because 5 squared is 25, which is going to give us around 50. Next up, I'm going to do GF, this side over here. So GF. And again, I'm going to take the square root, and I'm going to have negative 1 minus 4 squared and add it to 2 minus 7 squared. So I'm going to have negative 5 squared. Negative 1 minus 4 is negative 5 plus negative 5 squared, which this is looking familiar, right? All right, so I'm going to have 25 plus 25 equals rad 50. They are both equal to each other, so yes, it is a parallelogram. Okay, next up, determine whether the quadrilateral is a parallelogram using the slope formula. So I'm going to go ahead and draw it out. Negative 1, comma 6, negative 8, comma negative 2, 0, 2, and 5, 9. So what I'm going to do is make sure that the opposite sides, I want to make sure that the opposite sides are parallel, and that, that the opposite sides are parallel. Sorry, I was thinking a square or a rectangle there for a minute in perpendicular, but it's just a parallelogram. So opposite sides parallel is what we're looking for. Okay, so first up, I'm going to do LM, which, remember, to find the slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So 9 minus 6, and I get the 9 from right here and the 6 from right there, over 5 minus negative 1. All right, 9 minus 6 is 3. 5 plus 1, right, because 2 negatives make a positive, is 6. And that reduces to 1/2. So there's LM. All right, which I forgot to write here. This is L, this is M, this is N, and this is O. I mean L, M, N, P, not L, M, N, O, P. Okay, so next up is going to be M, N, right? This one right here. And we're not proving it's a rectangle, so they don't need to be perpendicular or opposite reciprocals. But we are going to do 9 minus 2 over 5 minus 0 from the M and the N points, right? And we're going to get 7 over 5. Okay, so different slopes right here, but that's okay because they're not the opposite ones. Next up, we're going to do PN, right? And that's going to be 2 minus negative 2 over 0 minus negative 8. 4 over 2, and that's going to reduce down to 1/2. So far we have 2 slopes that are the same, and we are going to see if we have one more the same. So we're going to do LP. Oops, not LR, LP. I'm going to do negative 2 minus negative 1 over negative 8 minus 6. All right, 2 negatives make a positive, so I'm left with negative 1 over negative 14, which those negatives would cancel out. All right, and this slope is not the same as 7 over 5, so no, this is not a parallelogram. Okay, next up, number 7. Didn't mean to do that. We're just going to go through the colors of the rainbow here. There we go. Nope, still black and white though. Oh my gosh. This is black. Okay, here we are. Back to color. Okay, so what we want to make sure here is we want to make sure that the opposite sides are parallel, because it's asking us to use the distance and slope, and congruent. Okay, so I'm going to just draw a rough little diagram over here just so I get a reference of what the shape is looking like. So I have B, C, DE. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to just go ahead and do BC first. So BC, I'm going to find the slope first. So here's BC. I'm going to do -5 minus -9 over 0 minus -2. All right, well, the two negatives become a positive, and this is going to become 4 over 2, because again, two negatives become a positive, and that's going to give me a slope of 2. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to figure out the slope of ED. So I'll just jump to a different color for ED. And for ED, I will do -7 minus -3 over 4 minus 6. All right, two negatives become a positive. This becomes -4. And 4 minus 6 is -2. And -4 divided by -2 is a positive 2. So far our slopes check out. Now we need to figure out the distance, which I don't know if I left myself on a verb here, but let's do the distance for BC. Okay, here we go. These are long problems. Yay for long problems. Okay, so BC, I'm going to do -5 minus -9, just like I did over here, but this time I'm going to square it, and then I'm going to add it to, I just lost my spot, 0 minus -2 and square it. All right, so -5 and then a +9 is going to give me 4. I'm going to square it, plus 2, I'm going to square it. Well, that's 16 plus 4, which is going to give me rad 20. All right, so that's BC. So in order for it to be a parallelogram, then ED is going to have to be rad 20 also. If it's not, then no. But right now, let's go ahead and figure ED out. Oops. I'll jump back to my pink pen for ED. And I'll go ahead and scribble that so we know that's separate. This is looking very messy. I apologize, guys. Okay, so I'm going to have -7 minus -3 squared. And then I'm going to add it to 4 minus 6 squared. All right, this is going to give me -4 squared plus 2 squared. Again, 16 plus 4, which will give me rad 20. So yes, it is a parallelogram because the opposite sides are congruent and parallel. All right, that's that section. We will move on to triangles next.